Okay, and if everybody can keep their cameras off, that will help the recording and keep my camera spotlit. Thank you. And is my camera spotlit for everyone? If I can just get a couple of replies.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think we are ready to go. Recording has started. And it is 8:59. We'll give it 1 minute. Let everybody join. Okay, everybody, it is 9 o'clock. Thank you for joining puppy class. Get this camera set up. All right, I hope that you can see me. I'm standing back a little bit. We are going to be talking about and demonstrating the exercise. This is a foundational exercise, calling dogs out of play. And we've been talking a lot about the puppy zones, the red, yellow, and green zones. And this exercise is really about flirting with that yellow and red zone and letting the puppies interact and play a little bit and working on their ability to leave something that is super fun and stimulating for them and return to the handler. This is a really important exercise because it accomplishes a few things. And most of all, what it does is it patterns the dogs to, like I just said, leave something that's really exciting and come back to the handler. This is a quality in a dog, particularly a graduate dog, that is really very important to our clients. And that's because, you know, our clients may have limited ability to get up and go grab their dog from a play session. And so having a dog that will leave something that's exciting and fun and return to the handler easily is a really high value quality. If everybody can mute their mics and keep their cameras off, that is going to really help us with the recording. And the recording, let's just make sure that's going. Yes, the recording is going. So if everybody, yes, please mute your mics and keep your cameras off. That will really help. And I am going to invite our puppies in just a second. And I want you guys to just take note on how they enter. I've asked everybody to space themselves out and to bring the dogs in calmly on loose leashes. I believe the dogs are all wearing gem leaders in their vests right now, but this exercise, the play exercise, we're going to strip everything down and just work with the dogs on flat collars. So they're going to come in, we're going to do a little bit of warm-up exercises and then get going. All right, thanks. All right, guys, one at a time, nice loose leashes. Come on in and find your spot in the room. and space yourselves out. And if you could shut the door behind the last person, that'd be great. So we have Dana and Kingsley, Emily and Caden, and Lauren with Greta. All right, and our camera, I am in the frame, on the edge of the frame, so if you guys can be over in this area. I should have maybe marked that out a little bit. You are right in the middle of it. Let's see, so it's actually right here to Dana is on the edge. So Emily, if you want to go back towards the door a little bit. I mean, sorry, Lauren. Oh my goodness. Terrible. Okay, great. So why don't we start with some warm-up exercises? We're going to put the dogs right in front of us, and we are going to do some name and eye contact exercises, and just get the dogs sort of focused on you. All right?
Yes. Yes. Good girl. Yes.
Dana, if you want to come right over here by the beds, I think then that will be a better spot for the. Perfect. Yep. Can everybody see 3 dogs now? And 3 handlers?
Yes.
Yeah.
Great. Okay. So the dogs are nice and warmed up.
Yes.
We have their attention, which is really important. We have dogs that are nicely focused. They're not overstimulated. These dogs are squarely in the green zone, right? Remember, green zone. So now what we're going to do is play a little bit with those zones and the stimulation level in the dogs. So let's take off the gentle leaders. We're going to put the leashes on the flat collars. And we can take off the vests as well. Hi, Joe. I'm going to keep my distance a little bit from these guys so that I can drop my mask and talk to you guys. And let's start with Greta and Caden. And Kingsley, if you can just step off to the side, we're going to start with 2 dogs interacting, and then we'll add the 3rd. All right. So we have some limited space here. So the table, you can stay right where you are, Lauren. And what we're going to do is we're going to have the 2 dogs approach each other on loose leashes and just go nose to nose and let them just casually interact. All right, there's no restrictions on the dogs right now other than sort of appropriate standards. Yeah. Yeah. So if they want to play a little bit, say hi, nice release. Too much focus from the dogs. All right, let's get them. Let's just let them hang out for a minute. No more food for the dogs right now.
All she wants.
Yeah. Oh, there we go. Okay, Caden's gonna give her a sniff. Let's see if we get some stimulation.
How old are they?
Greta is about 5 months, 4 months, and Caden is 10 months. Yeah. Yeah. We're just gonna wait them out. There we go. Maybe we can add a toy. So this is a good example of how we're going to start playing with their stimulation level, right? So these dogs are low there's a lot of low stimulation going on here. So what am I going to do? I'm going to add a stimulus to the environment, right? So we're going to take a ball, we're going to start bouncing it. Maybe they'll start to get a little bit excited. Oh, I'm saying, oh, there we go. Good. All right. Nope. Not with me. All right, let's stay in the camera frame. All right, so now we got some stimulation going on. We're gonna remove the ball. See if we can just get them to go dog to dog. Good. All right, and on the count of 3, you guys are going to back away from one another, get the dog's attention. Back on you. Move away from each other. Get the dog's attention. There you go. That's the exercise. Let's go back into the play session. Good. And 3, 2, 1. Let's bring them back to the handlers. And treat, treat, treat. Very good. And let's go back. So why don't we do this? Let's drop Hayden's leash. We're gonna take him off the leash, or you can, yeah, drop the leash is fine.
Okay, he's fine off the leash if you need to.
Sure, we take off the leash. So we're going to up the ante a little bit, right? A little less control from the handler. Now we are just relying on our voice and our presence, and we have dropped the tool of the leash from the equation. That's also going to give him a little more freedom, and we're going to have to expect that he makes some really good choices here. So let's have the dogs interact as best we can. There we go. Hayden, go get her.
There you go. Get it. My brother.
All right, let's add the third dog. Come on in, Hayden. All right, very good. Hello. Grab his leash.
Yes, good boy.
I tried a toy.
There we go. Nice.
Did you find a toy?
They're all right. Yeah, good job. Good.
Cats. Yeah, food. Let's exit the cats. Yeah, good job.
Just move away. Yeah, there you go. Good. Why don't we put Caden back on the leash and we'll go back to the standard exercise. So we've added a third dog, and so what we're going to do is add the leash back to Caden's equation here, and put a little more control on the exercise, right? We added some more stimulus, so we're going to take away a little bit of the freedom, right? All right, let's have the dogs interact. Nice dog to dog, nice appropriate dog to dog interaction. Very good. We have a low level stimulation going on, right? All right, let's pull them apart and we'll give them some treats. There you go. Very nice. Treat, treat, treat. Let's just let them sit for a minute and back into play.
He just wants the toy.
Yeah. Dogs? Yeah.
All right, why don't we take off Greta's leash? We'll see what happens.
Cat.
Yeah, I'm kind of thinking the cat is gonna be the thing. Oh, so now we have Greta. She's 4 months old. We have two other, older dogs who she is familiar with. Oh, and she's coming to say hello. And Emily, you can walk right up to her and bribe her with a treat. So Greta was sniffing around. She came over, said hello to me. And Lauren is going to walk right up to her and bribe her focus back to her with a treat on the nose. So basically, she just lured her back to her. She's 4 months old. That's totally appropriate for a dog her age. Great. And now we have her focus, which is great. All right, let's release the dogs back into play.
You want me to throw some of
Hi,
these
Greta.
carrots out?
Yes. Oh boy, you're gonna jump on me again, huh? Oh boy. All right. All right, why don't you call Greta back to you? Very nice. Greta came right out of play, right back to Lauren, got a treat. All right, let's pull those boys apart. There we go. A name and offering a piece of kibble got his focus right back on Dana. And there they are, refocused. That was even a little bit higher level of stimulation than we've seen from these guys so far. So we're seeing this level of stimulation is coming up, but it's not uncontrollable, right? This is turning into a really nice example. All right, let's send the dogs back into play.
He's gonna go straight for that ball. All right, release.
You're trying to get the ball. Get it. Get it.
We've added that ball back into the equation because we want the dogs to get interested in play and get a little bit of stimulation going. Greta has also found some cats, so she is very interested in the cats.
It's the ball.
All right, let's pull her out of there.
Get him. Yes, good boy.
If you can turn off your camera, that is going to help the recording so that everybody can view it later. Somebody's sharing their screen. Great, thank you. Perfect. All right, we have some dogs playing. We have a ball in the mix, which is adding to the stimulation. All right, let's pull them apart. We're gonna get their attention. Oh, look, Greta was fighting for her path back to the handler, which is great, right? She barreled right through a dog that was playing to get back to Lauren for that treat. That was really nice. All right, let's go back into it.
Release. Where's that ball? Release. You guys like this?
Yeah. The best thing in the world. They're like, no,
Yeah.
don't look at
Yeah.
brothers.
Yeah. Hang on, let's see. There we go.
All right, and let's pull them apart. Look at that. That was really beautiful. So nice. All right, let's just hold the dogs there for a minute and we're going to talk a little bit about what's going on. So we have really successfully shown some control with some various levels of stimulation. So I really can't express enough how important this exercise is, right? We see dogs come into professional training and, the stimulus of being in kennels with other dogs, they're new dogs, and we see a lot of really rough play. and difficulty managing those play groups. That's one of the first things that we work on in professional training is we run the dogs in small groups. The trainers do a lot of evaluation in that sort of initial dog-to-dog interaction. And one of the first things we work on is controlling the level of stimulation while dogs play. Like I said, I'll say it again, this is really important to our clients, to our graduates, to have a dog that will easily come out of play and return to the handler, or leave any kind of stimulus and return to the handler. I mean, we see dogs drop toys, stop playing, return to the handler. This is really, really important. I'm going to get to some of these comments I'm seeing in the chat. Okay. Good morning, good morning, good morning. We are raising a 10-month-old, and this is not my typical experience. Yeah. Did these dogs get aerobic exercise before they saw each other? Is there a suggested way for them to be in the green zone before they are together? Absolutely. So that is a really, really great comment. Thank you so much. So no, these guys have not been out playing. They may have had a little walk, a little bit of just nothing super stimulating, nothing aerobic for sure. Just their standard morning routines. And if you were able to join early on, you saw the dogs come into the room on loose leashes with their equipment on. These guys are good with their equipment, so they're not stimulated by the equipment. If they were fighting their equipment or the equipment was an issue, we would have just have them come in on flat collars. We want the dogs to come in in the green zone with a low level of stimulus before we start this exercise. We also had the dogs come in and we did a little focus warm up, right? And this is why we sort of had a little bit of trouble having the dogs interact at first. And we had to up the ante with some toys, and we added a third dog. We took the leash off of Greta, gave her a little bit more freedom, and we were playing with the stimulus in the environment, right? Adding stimulus until we got the dogs really interacting and getting to that point where, you know, dogs can kind of start to leave the yellow zone and go into the red zone. And then if the dogs are in the red zone, they're not going to respond to their name and come out of play. If this is not your typical experience, that's okay. But we do need to start practicing this. And you'll also notice that as we started this exercise, we started with 2 dogs, both on leashes, on the flat collar. And if we weren't able to get the dog's attention right away, we would simply add a little bit of pressure to the leash and just have the 2 handlers back away from each other, right? And as the dogs get farther away, you'll notice that they hit a threshold where the stimulus is not that exciting anymore, and the handler becomes more exciting, right? Because then they're closer to the handler than they are to the other dog. We see that threshold expand, they get farther away from the stimulus, and then the focus goes on to the handler. Does that help, Donna? All right.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
Lois asks, what is an appropriate age difference in play? Or is that dependent on personalities? Various classes about not having play in same areas as training due to possible hypercharged play versus learning expectation. I think I understand what you're saying. I'm going to sort of summarize that. So yes, we have been talking about limiting play and the experience and the stimulus of play. We want to limit that association with the learning environment. Sure, absolutely. However, this is a highly, highly structured interaction, and this is certainly a learning experience for the dogs. I came up with something as I was trying to fall asleep last night, and I think we're going to change the name of puppy class to puppy socialization class, because training is really a social experience for the dogs. So, something I've been thinking about. Anyway, so yes, we want to give the dogs the experience of playing with each other, but we want to have that experience mean something, right? Oftentimes we want to just let the dogs play. We want to have a break ourselves, and giving the dogs some playtime kind of lets them blow off steam and all of that stuff. But what ends up happening is that level of stimulation gets really, really high. And then it just becomes sort of a jackpot in its own. And there's not a whole lot of benefit to the handler when you're offering the dog that much stimulus, right? Can you please mute your mics? All right. I think I just muted everyone. I think that works. Okay. Hopefully I was able to answer that question. And then there was the question about age difference. So yes, it's completely dependent on the dog's maturity level and their personality. Greta is a fairly low activity puppy. She's 4 months old. This is Greta. This is typical of Greta. She lies down and oh my goodness, my mother would have a fit. She lies down. Yeah. Okay. She lies down and looks at her handler. Typically, this is her regular level of stimulation. This is why we took the leash off of her. We're able to let her interact with these older dogs who were probably more stimulated by an activity like this when they were her age, right? So they're a little more mature. They have a little more experience with this exercise. So that is the combination that we're looking at. Age for these dogs is really just a number. What if they don't return that easily? This is why we're working with the dogs on leash on the flat collar. So if they are not offering you the attention that you're, with their name or by, sort of interrupting with either sounds, their names, clapping, whatever, then we're going to intervene with a little bit of leash pressure. We're just going to back up with the leash in our hand and slowly add pressure until the dogs are physically pulled apart from each other. And this is where you and the other handler that you're working with really have to be on the same page, right? So if you're backing up, the other handler has to back up also. They can't let the dog follow the dog that you're trying to get attention from, right? That's not really fair. So if you are working with somebody else, you have to say to the person, okay, let's back up. You both back up. And once you have given the dogs some space from each other, right? You've increased the distance, the stimulation should drop a bit and you should be able to get their attention. Hi, Susan. I think we're good. Yeah, thank you. Great. Okay. We're wondering if these 3 good puppies were running a 5-mile marathon before they came in the secret door over there. Very impressive. Well done, puppy raisers. New. We just went over that. So this is, this should be typical. This is a goal for everybody's puppy class. Absolutely. Also, remember, these dogs are familiar with campus. They come here a lot. They have not this is not a super stimulating environment for them. We're also in a fairly sterile environment, and it's just 3 dogs. We're not working with a whole bunch of dogs. We also have handlers that are focused on the puppies. They're not interacting and chatting and having the dogs on leash out, greeting each other and sort of without any control. So think about those elements. That's really important to managing the puppy class.
Also, they all know each other, which I think really helps oftentimes. I don't know if they can hear me.
Yeah, I'll repeat.
Okay, yeah, but they know each other, so
Yeah.
that also helps.
Yeah. So Dana was just adding that the puppies all know each other. They're familiar with one another, which may or may not help. I mean, dogs, I think probably seeing each other frequently sort of lowers the novelty of the interaction. But also dogs who know each other can also tend to play a little more roughly. It just has to do with the novelty of the situation. What I struggle with is our puppy who came to us at 7 months with our released dog, now 2. Since they live together, their exposure is constant. So yeah, we were just touching on that. Yes, highly familiar with each other. And so what is the struggle there, Judy? If you can reply
I'm sorry,
in the chat. What's that?
I didn't explain it very well. Our puppy is now 11 months. Our release dog is 2. They live together, obviously. And there's a lot of play that goes on all day long.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of my focus is keeping the play to a very low level, which is a real challenge because the puppy is a real high intensity player.
Yeah.
And sometimes my husband is here, sometimes not, but I don't want to keep them kenneled all the time.
Right. Right. That is tough, and that is a little bit of a management issue. Although, I mean, you have the opportunity to work on that recall. How is the recall when you do intervene?
Very poor.
Well, then we got to work on that. So,
and I work on recall a lot,
mm-hmm.
and she does well, but when we get into the play experience, it's very poor.
Yeah, I would add a leash, let her drag a leash. And how's the recall with the release dog?
Most of the time, pretty good.
Yeah.
But
so this is an exercise that you can't really do with 1 person and 2 dogs. That's not going to work.
Yes. I realize that. This has been going on for 4 months. So
yeah,
it's a very difficult situation because I don't want this intensity to keep the puppy from.
The puppy's 11 months old?
She's 11 months old now.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, that's probably, I mean, that sounds like a lot of stimulation over a long period of time. And that's certainly something that we need to set up a pattern of response out of that play. And it's going to take, it's going to take 2 people handling, 1 person handling each dog, and just working on this type of exercise. How is the puppy's eye contact and focus when you're working one-on-one?
I'd give her an 85. Not nearly as good as our release dog. She just was always zeroed in on me.
And are you able to work on that eye contact and in low stimulus environments?
Yeah, I'm trying to do that. She we just keep working on it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know that's part of the focus. So,
Well, and so what I would suggest to you is working on that eye contact and focus in a low stimulus environment and add slowly small pieces of stimuli to your environment. And the other dog is that's way too much, right? Maybe we're gonna just add some kibble on the floor or maybe a tennis ball or something like that.
okay. All right. We'll
Okay.
keep working at it.
Great.
Thank you.
Great. And I have a hand up. Cindy.
Hi,
Hi.
I'm in the same situation. I have a 13-week-old puppy and a 3.5-year-old Labrador that is my own personal family dog.
Mhm.
Puppy and family dog, high energy.
Mhm.
I am by myself most of the time. I am able to break up their play about 99% of the time by myself.
Mhm.
I can call each one of the dogs individually out. Am I doing a bad thing here by sometimes I will call both of them at the same time to break up the play? Or do
No,
I?
that's actually, that is fine. And it is a way to, if you're able to control the level of stimulus by having both of them come to you at the same time, I say go for it. Absolutely.
Okay.
I would also suggest using an X Pen or a crate to sort of keep the dogs from playing all the time.
I do. They
Yeah.
right now, they're separated.
Great.
They have their playtime this morning, but when we're done, we're done.
Great. Great.
Okay,
Good.
thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Let's see. When I go to puppy play on Friday, 3 dogs max. The dog I'm raising, when she enters the play yard, she goes for the yard toys. I don't believe in rough play, so always offer a toy instead. I hope I didn't cause a prey drive for yard toys. I do call her out of play and she comes and I reward her with a treat, then release her back to play. Yeah, that's great. No, a toy drive type of temperament is very different from prey drive. Prey drive is really specific to small animals. We don't want the dogs to chase cats or other small animals or get highly focused on birds and things like that. Toys are very, very different from that. Let's see. I don't need help with a low energy dog. We need help with high energy dogs. Yeah, well, these guys are high energy dogs, but we have a lot of control because we've been working with them for a long time. Is it okay to keep giving treats when they do one back? When they come back? What age would you stop? I have a COC and a 6-month puppy. The release dog comes without treats needed. Yeah, so with the puppies, we don't need to have an expectation that we don't finish with treats. Treats all the time. It's fine. All the treats. Don't try to wean out food with this exercise. Ever. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay. And Cindy, do you have another question or is your hand just still up?
No, I'm sorry. I forgot to take my hand down.
No, that's okay. Just want to make sure I got your question. All right. All right, should we try the exercise again? We have a few more minutes in class. All right.
Yeah.
What do you think they're gonna do without leashes?
Have fun.
Have fun? All right, let's
I don't know
try
if
it.
you want to show it, but he has a really high ball drive.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And see if that seems
Sure.
to like take him closer to the
Yep.
red
Yep.
frame.
Yep.
Um,
We got a ball right there.
Yeah.
So Kingsley here has a very high toy drive, specifically with balls. So we're gonna let him interact with the ball and the dogs, and we'll let the dogs get going. The other thing that I should mention, and maybe this is why people are thinking that these dogs are low energy and that the dogs that they're working with are super high energy. The thing is, what we really want to do is intervene before they hit that red zone, right? We have the leashes on the dogs to save the exercise if they do hit that red zone and are not responding to their name, right? But we really want to intervene with by interrupting the play with either pressure on the leash, using their name, luring them out of play with a treat, put that treat right on their nose and lure them out. Before, we want to do that before they become totally unresponsive. So if you are having a dog that quickly hits that red zone, my suggestion, my instruction is that you need to intervene a little more quickly, right? A little sooner before they hit that high level of stimulus. If they hit that red zone as soon as they see another dog, which is not uncommon, then we need to maintain a little bit of distance, right? So if the dogs are super stimulated by other dogs and they're highly stimulated, they're at the end of the leash, jumping around because they see a dog that's 3 feet away, 6 feet away, we need to add a little bit of distance and just work on the dogs coming out of that sort of focus on the other dog back to you, okay? So that's going to be your exercise. That's going to be the beginning of this exercise for a high energy, highly easily stimulated puppy.
Can I add something?
Yeah.
Can you all hear me?
Yeah.
I think so. I often find that a mistake that people make as well is making sure, you want to make sure that you let the dogs off leash when they're in that green zone rather than like in the red zone or something like that. Kingsley, he's sniffing the cat litter. But then the other thing too is like making sure that they return back to a state of being able to focus on you when you call them out of play before they return back to play as well. So I'm struggling with that with Kingsley a little bit where he's going to go play and I'm not his raiser. I'm just using him for the demo. So I don't have like a great relationship with me. This is my first time working with him. But having him come back to me and return to a state where he's able to focus on me, give me eye contact, and kind of stay with me before releasing him back, rather than that really amped up, closer to the red zone, I have to go play with my friends, I have to go play with my friends, and not really able to focus on me. So making sure that you, when you recall them out of play, that expectation is that they really come back to you and have that focus before they're allowed to go back.
Thank you. Yes, absolutely. So just to reiterate that, we want to let, flirt with that yellow zone, let the dogs go into the yellow zone. But when they come back, we're having the dogs refocus and return to that green zone. So it's coming back and really dropping that level of stimulus in between the play sessions. Yes, thank you, Dana. Perfect. Yeah, great. All right, so this is, and I'm gonna keep saying it, I'm gonna say it forever. This is a really, really important foundational exercise for all the puppies and you guys. And we are going to be talking more about this in our seminar series in a couple, I believe it's in a few weeks. It's not the next session. Our next session is on house manners. But stay tuned for that. And this has been recorded and we will have it up on the YouTube channel later this week. All right, let's get to the last few questions and then we'll call it a day. Going back to using toys, is it appropriate to encourage them to have a toy in their mouth to be able to continue playing? Yeah, you know, play with toys, play with different stimuli, right? The dogs weren't very stimulated when we started out, so we added a toy to bring that level of stimulation up. A great exercise to do while the dogs are playing with a toy is have them come to you, and you can use drop and have them drop the toy in exchange for a piece of kibble. So yes, toys are just another stimulus. They're just another tool in your toolbox to play with that level of stimulation. Should the occasional zooming in the house be interrupted, or if it is short in duration, 2 minutes, find way for him to blow off some steam? Yeah, zoomies are okay. We don't want that extended level of high stimulation. That's just super high stimulation. But it, you know, that's just going to be their initial response to a new environment usually, or something that seems really fun. It's okay to let them go off and do that. What we don't want to do is have them go into a state where they're completely out of their minds, right? So adding a little bit of control, but yeah, zoomies are cute, they're fun. We just don't want the dogs to be destructive and crazy. All right. Yeah.
If you are having trouble with like higher escalation during play and a higher energy level dog, what are tools you can use to get them out of play to then get them back down to the green zone?
Yeah.
Before they return?
So if you are having a dog that is often going into the red zone, some of the tools that you can use, I would have the dog drag a leash and just use that leash to physically bring them back, add a little bit of pressure, and have them come back to you. Our dogs, our canine companions puppies, really, we rarely see them really pinwheel out of a flat collar or do anything really crazy. And so they're generally pretty pliable, and you can just add a little bit of pressure. And doing that is going to physically put distance between them and the stimulus, and decrease the distance between you and the dog. And so the stimulus of you and treats and control and focus becomes more important than that other stimulus. So physically moving the dog around is fine.
And then if they are super distracted or overstimulated, is it appropriate to sit there with like a handful of treats
Absolutely.
and dispense them?
Absolutely. If they've really sort of lost it, that's going to be a great way to refocus them. Also, consider leaving that environment. Even so, if you're out in a play yard or something like that, and you have the dog on a leash, they're totally overstimulated. You are using the leash to bring them back to you. You're offering them kibble. They're still kind of wanting to play and a little bit hyped up. Leave the area. Just go, you know, a few yards outside of the park, and just drop that level of stimulation of the park that the dog is experiencing. Yeah. Cool. Thank you. All right. We're going to talk much more about this in our seminar series. And we're just going to keep talking about this exercise over and over and over, along with puppy zones and everything else, because this is the good stuff. All right, everybody. Thank you very much. It's been a great morning. Bye.